Well, I grew up mostly in Montclair, New Jersey, and I can remember 10, 11, 12, in that age range. And you would know when Ringling Brothers had arrived in New York. It would just be in the air. It was like a major thing. In fact, the Cathedral of St. John the Divine would wait to do the blessing of the animals till Ringling Brothers was in New York. You should see some of the animals that came to the cathedral for the blessing. Some had trunks. They had a hard time keeping a sexton at the But every year, when I was growing up, my folks would take me to the circus at the real Madison Square Garden. And we would look at all the side shows and all these things you might see in the movies now. And I would really, I remember Emmett Kelly. His job was to sweep up the spotlight, and it kept moving, and he'd sweep it, and then it would get bigger, and he'd have to get in. It was really wonderful. Emmett Kelly spent the winters in Indiana. Did you know there's a town in Indiana where a lot of the circus people used to, and they had these huge barns. And you go by on the highway and go, wow, I wonder what that's for. Ringling Brothers, some of them would stay there. And you'd see somebody, like very tall person with this very, walking down the sidewalk in this little Indianapolis, town, Indiana town, not Indianapolis. So anyway, I would go there to the circus, and I would be in awe of all these things, how many people could get out of one car, all that kind of thing. But the trapeze artist, wow, amazing. Which brings me to the point of the sermon today. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. When you watch those trapeze artists, there's somebody standing on a little platform over here, and way over there is someone holding a trapeze. Right? And this person over here is holding a trapeze. Now the job of that person on that platform is to get to this platform. Okay, so they swing out over the crowd. And this person's job is to swing the next trapeze over so they can let go of this one and grab that one. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. In order for that artist to catch this trapeze, they have to let go of this one and grab that one. And the moment you let go of this one, and just before you grab that one, that infinite little space there, that's faith. That's faith. Faith isn't having the trapeze in your hand. It's the letting go of this, and you haven't quite got that, but you believe it will be there. The conviction of things not seen. And you sure hope this person knows what they're doing. Who does this? That's faith. That's what some people call the absurdity of faith. Faith is not something you go get. It's a gift to you. God's And Jesus is the ultimate trapeze artist. And he wants the disciples, he says in the gospel reading today, don't be afraid, little flock. Did you look at the hymn we sang before that? About war? And then the gospel says, don't be afraid, little flock. Don't be afraid, little flock. And he has to teach them to let go of this trapeze. And he promises them that God is there. All they have known there's been 200 years since there had been a prophet in Israel when Jesus came into his public ministry. All they knew was about the rules. You do this, wash this way, eat this on this day, and don't pick that now, do it tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And then there were the rule police who wanted, you. This is how we live, measuring up to the rules. And Jesus has to teach them to let go of that and to grab something else. Because the rules are not God. Now, those who have lifelong careers in enforcing the rules are a little upset with his saying that in so many words. Don't worry about the rules. What is he saying? Jesus is offering to them another understanding that God intended all along, and that is that they have a relationship with God, and that God don't make junk. Everybody is worthy of that relationship. There are no exceptions. Zero. And all of you who have been told to live outside the gates of the city, get in here. Yes, I'm going to eat dinner with you. Yes, I'm going to sit next to you. Yes, I'm going to heal you who touched my hem of my garment, even though you're not allowed to, according to the rules. And off we go. The circus is in town. Jesus is here. Come on. Let go of that stuff and listen to me. I'm asking you to think about what faith is. And that faith is God's great gift to you. I'm inviting you to learn to depend on it, not just know about it. Lean on that. That's a truth. And it isn't about what the rules are all the time, unless the rules prevent you from doing and having an abundant and good life, whatever those rules are. Shop at Whole Foods. Things like that. What do you mean you went to Stop and Shop? You can't get good food there. Those are the rules that people are living by. Heck with that. The gospel says be dressed, ready for action. And you know what people are in here say? Well, I wouldn't know what to wear. I just have nothing to put on. So maybe your being dressed for action is putting on overalls. Maybe you're dressed for action because you have on those oily khaki pants that you wear every day to work and the oil doesn't come out anymore because you're working on the cars or trucks or whatever it is. You're ready. Get dressed. Put on what it is that you put on. What is the garment of your life? Are you ready? A friend of mine who had become bedridden, lived at home. People came and took care of her, and people visited. But she had lost her eyesight. But she was still, she says, I'm still an evangelist. I said, really? Yep. She's ready. Always. When they come to read to me, because they feel bad for me, she said, I pick out what they read because I want them to hear. Oh yes, I want you to read this passage from the gospel because I want them to hear how God loves them. So she has them read those things. She never finished. She's dressed and ready. She's not finished. She's not done. And so Jesus said, your life is to be spent in that readiness. The overture may be finished, but the curtain hasn't gone up. How are you sitting in that seat, in that place? Hanging out or expecting something? Expecting something. That's the way it is. And the gospel is about always be expecting that thing to happen. Well, this could wear you out. I'm dressed all the time. I'm living like this. It wears you out. Well, you better stay with others who have heard this too. You better meet together. And don't be afraid, little flock, because you have each other. You are listening to the same message. You're going to uphold one another when one of you gets really tired of being ready and maybe doesn't feel dressed and ready. The trapeze has gotten away from them. We're here. We are here. We are the flock, little or big. But that's why we are. We are meant to be watching out for each other, caring for each other, feeding each other, holding each other up, because we want to be ready. The voice of being ready, the manner in which we do that, of course, is meant to be shared with others. They are afraid. They haven't heard the comfort of don't be afraid. There are afraidy people out there. And they're afraid of what the next electric bill is going to be. They're afraid of the rent going up. They're afraid they can't even find a house or a place to live. They're afraid the job they have isn't going to work out. They're afraid for their children. Whatever it is, there's a lot of anxiety out here. And for us to show up and go, well, Jesus said, don't be afraid. That is probably not going to work out real well. But you have that conviction of things that you don't see. You carry that conviction so that when you touch the life of someone else, you're touching it knowing that their anxiousness about life is based on the reality of their lives, and that you would want to invite them to a larger context of how to listen about life and how to be together. To be noticed is sometimes what it takes. Maybe you just touch the life of one person today or tomorrow at the checkout line. You could change their life because you noticed them. Picked up something that fell on the floor. I mean, you've had that experience yourself when someone goes out of their way to hold a door even. So it makes your day. Somebody cares. That's what it's going to have to start with. But that is, for some of us, that is the most thing we can do, is to start to touch lives that don't have this understanding in a caring way. Faith is the assurance that that trapeze is going to be there when you reach out for it. Amen.